successful people and all of successful people experience anxiety because they only satisfy their desire, and their purpose in life is satisfying their desire. But the final purpose of life is that eliminate the cause of anxiety.
Yes.
Is it correct?
Yes, very well, very correct. Yes. So the question about the purpose of life is deeply related to the problem of human anxiety. Yes. So all people share the same anxiety. Yeah, this is Buddha's view. No exception and no discrimination. All people have same kind of anxiety. And then people are suffering from this. And this anxiety takes different forms based on the condition and circumstances of each individuals. For some people, this anxiety appears as loneliness. And for some people, this anxiety appears as boredom. People feel bored, or I don't have anything, or even they are busy in a hectic lifestyle, still they feel bored because there are not many change or differences about what they are doing every day, because it's the same routine. Yeah, so this applies to everybody. We are repeating the same cycle every day. Some people are not bored. Maybe they are patient, or maybe they are not so sensitive. People's sensitivity are different, right? So for some people, life is boring because it's the same repetition. But some people say, "Oh, life is exciting." Yeah, maybe so. But such good situation doesn't last very long. No. So eventually, we will feel the same way. But it's like a pendulum. Do you know pendulum?
No, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Pendulum is something that fluctuates from left to right and from right to left continuously. Like in the old time, a clock had a pendulum. You see the image right now, right?
Yeah.
So our mind always fluctuating like a pendulum between boredom and pain. Boredom and pain. This is the word from German philosopher Schopenhauer. He's a famous philosopher, and he's also famous for his pessimistic view of life. People criticize him as being pessimistic. But I don't agree with this idea. He was just observing human life as it is. And interestingly, he was also studying Buddhism. He said, life is like a pendulum moving back and forth between pain and boredom. So it sounds a little difficult, so let me explain a little more. So I think I explained feeling boredom in life, because life is a repetition of the same cycle. This is being boredom. Then what is pain? So pain is the pain of making effort to achieve something big, like climbing a mountain, right? But people like to climb a mountain. People like to experience in such pain. Sometimes I go on a hike, and sometimes it's going to be very long and a very advanced one. The mountain path is very steep, so you need to exercise a lot of muscle activity, and little by little it becomes painful. But that's something people want to experience, because after that pain, and when you reach the peak, you feel so good. You will filled with sense of fulfillment. Oh, I have overcome this mountain, very high mountain. That's why people go to Mount Everest. Do you know Mount Everest?
Yeah, I know. I know that.
Maybe that's the highest mountain in the world. The height is almost, I don't remember, 8,000 meters. Kilometers. I'm not good at calculating, and that's one of the highest mountain. And so it's a life and death challenge. Many people actually died while climbing. But why do people do such adventure? Why people want to experience such a pain in the snowy mountain? Because the sense of fulfillment is so great. Yeah. So that's the purpose why people want to experience pain. But this exhilaration, this deep joy doesn't last so long. And when this joy, after a while, such a big joy subside and eventually fade away, and our mind also starts to feel bored as Schopenhauer said, our mind is like a pendulum, going back and forth between boredom and pain. I used the example of climbing a mountain, but this example can apply everything in our life. So some people experience this in their business. Yeah, and some people experience this in the field of sports. Now, many athletes have been going through a very hard training because there was going to be a Tokyo Olympic Games. Athletes try to do their best in their training for 4 years, aiming to achieve gold medal in the Olympic Games. Yeah, did I mention the example of Michael Phelps or Ian Thorpe?
Yeah, I remember you told me about Michael Phelps. He achieved a lot of Olympic Games, but he suffered from anxiety and depression.
Yeah, exactly. You have good memory. Very well. For such athlete who was in the spotlight many times, they experience deep joy, ecstasy, you can call it, or euphoric experience, and the gap between the normal life and such deep joy is so big, and that big gap becomes danger. So that can cause such depression. So the pendulum fluctuates extremely. Our pendulum fluctuates very, within a small range. The joy is not so big, usually. We are having a very simple, moderate life. So the joy is not so huge, and the pain is not so huge. The range of waving is very small. But such an athlete or business entrepreneur, very successful business people, the range is so huge. The joy is so great, but at the same time, the opposite is so huge. That's why they suffer. So, some people even say, don't be too successful, or success should not be your goal. Why people have to say this? The reason is just what I explained just now. Because being successful is dangerous. So my point here is anxiety. Being successful is just a temporary distraction from anxiety. Yeah, we need that temporary distraction. That's necessary in life. Without that distraction, our life becomes so monotonous, so simple to endure. So, we need to make effort in business and sports, and we need to win the game, and we need to make profit. That's human life. But in a sense, human activities are all distraction from deep anxiety. Because we have this deep anxiety, we can't stay in our house too long. Of course, that's what we are doing right now, but it's very painful to stay in our house too long. It all comes from human anxiety. And today I want to add one more example or topic to this. Some people say life doesn't have any specific purpose. And some people even say life doesn't have any meaning. There's no meaning in life. Some people dare to say this. Have you heard such statement before?
Yeah, I can remember some people believe that their life is meaningful. These people are called nihilist.
Oh, very good.
Who, if I pronounce correctly.
Did I explain this to you before?
I read some books in school, in high school, Islamic books that explained about nihilists who believe that the life is meaningless and the final purpose of life is zero.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there is such a philosophy actually, and I did a little research about it, and the word is pronounced as nihilism. Nihilism. Yeah. It goes back almost 2,000 years to Greek and Roman time, and its history is very long as human history. But after the German philosopher Nietzsche, it got more currency. I think you have heard of Nietzsche.
A little bit I heard about him, but actually I didn't read his books.
Yeah, his books are very difficult, so I haven't read any of his books yet. But I read a lot of commentary books and a lot of website about it. And I learned a lot of things. And if I briefly explain it, for a long time, people believed there is a meaning and a purpose in life. And this belief was based on Christianity. Yeah, for a long time, especially of course, in Western countries, Christianity was prevailing. So most of the population believe in it, and they thought there is a purpose, and life has meaning. But little by little, the authority of Christian churches declined around the time of Nietzsche, and less and less people had deep faith in Christianity. And at the same time, people started losing sight of the purpose of life. I think it's understandable. For a long time, all of them believed Christianity, God in Christianity, and the life was good. People were content. But people became skeptic. Does God really exist? Do you know how those people are called?
Atheism.
Yes. Yeah. Atheism started. And at the same time, people lost sight of the purpose of life. And then Nietzsche said he spread the word nihilism. So basically, people who support the idea of nihilism think there's no meaning in life and there's no purpose in life. So all we can do is to enjoy the moment, pleasure of the moment by fulfilling our desire, eating delicious food, drinking alcohol, and making money, and having good relationship, and becoming famous or getting higher position. Mostly, in the United States in 1960s, there were people who were called hippies. And those people just enjoy playing music or listening to music and dancing and using marijuana, and then just enjoy the temporary pleasure. I think those people are a good example of nihilism. So this is the natural conclusion. If there's no purpose in life, all we can do is just to enjoy this moment. And they don't think about future. So when we die, we just die. So what else can we do? So this is a very, it's against human ethics, or how do you say, what do you think about such lifestyle?
Although a lot of people assert that, although a lot of people claim that they believe Islamic rule or Christianity, they follow nihilism. Like that, because nihilism, because they don't follow the rule of cause and effect. They only follow. They only like to make profit as much as possible, even by deceiving and something like that.
Yeah. And even though there might be some good nihilists, people who believe in nihilism, who don't deceive other people, but all they do is indulging in satisfying their desires. Still, we can call that decadence. It was popular, and it might be popular even today. There were some such people who indulge in decadence. All they think is fulfilling their desire. And actually, in the time of Greek, almost 2,000 years ago, there was a famous philosopher. The purpose of human being is to maximize the pleasure of the moment. That's the purpose of life. One famous philosopher proclaimed in this way. And even today, after 2,000 years, there seem to be a lot of followers of this philosopher. All they think about is maximize the pleasure of the moment. So let's say if there are 100 people, I think, or maybe my teacher always says that out of 100 people, 98 people think in this way. So I think that's the majority of our society or the world, unfortunately. Although their lifestyle may differ, some people are having a gorgeous, abundant lifestyle. Some people are more modest. But basic belief in life are almost the same. They don't think they have nihilism, but the basic belief in life is almost the same. All we can do...
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sorry for this interruption.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Most of people like to satisfy their desire, and they follow this notion as the purpose of life because they believe in nihilism.
Let me put it a little different way. I don't think they know the word nihilism. Yeah, I don't think they know this philosophical term. Yeah, they don't know this term, but all they can do is to satisfy their desire. And we can call this nihilism. So in a sense, I put the label to those people. They don't know their lifestyle is that of nihilism, but I think I can put this label to those people. But of course, putting label is not such a good idea in some cases. People don't like putting label or being put label. But in order to understand the purpose of life, for the convenience of explaining, I explained in this way. So they don't think they believe in nihilism, but ultimately speaking, what they are doing is almost the same. It's not that they are indulging in decadence. They are working very hard, and some people are very good people. Yeah. So I don't want people to misunderstand me. I'm just focusing my talk on the difference between people who don't know the purpose of life and people who know the purpose of life. Why people believe in nihilism? The reason. Do you know what do you think? The reason, the cause, why people end up believing in nihilism?
Can you simplify your question?
So, if you think about the definition of nihilism, it doesn't sound so good, right?
Right.
But why people end up believing in nihilism, or some people are attracted to nihilism? Actually, I was attracted. Go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. As a matter of fact, I myself was attracted by this idea when I was much, much younger. I thought it's a good idea. Especially young people.
Because people, especially youngsters, like to satisfy their desire, and also they cannot understand the purpose of life.
Yeah. So what you said is very right. To know or to understand the purpose of life is very, very difficult. There have been so many philosophers in Western countries and of course Eastern countries, and they know all of them emphasize the importance of having the purpose of life. But honestly, none of them have been able to clarify the purpose of life. Even Socrates didn't clarify it enough, nor Plato, nor Heidegger, nor Schopenhauer, Kant, or Kierkegaard, Sartre. No philosopher have ever clarified the purpose of life enough. So what is the purpose of life is the unsolved question since 2000 years ago. This question is not answered yet. So, of course, some people believe they have the purpose of life. But if you examine it closely, it proves out that it doesn't satisfy it's not qualified to be called the purpose of life. So, like I explained, this purpose of life is deeply related to human anxiety. So we have to eliminate our anxiety completely. Yeah. So last time I said it is very difficult to explain what is the purpose of life in a short sentence or one paragraph, or even if I spend one whole day, it's still difficult. If I can explain it in one hour lecture, many philosophers could have already explained it in their philosophy. So it's not easy to explain it in a brief way, but I can say the purpose of life is deeply related to human anxiety. So once we can eliminate and dispel this deep anxiety, we can enjoy our life to the fullest, 100% or maybe 500%. We will be able to enjoy our life without using drug or alcohol or tobacco or marijuana. Yeah. We will achieve unshakable spirit, or in Buddhism, this is called enlightenment. Spiritual awakening. And once you have this, you will feel, I'm very happy to have been born a human. I'm very happy to be alive. I'm grateful to my parents 100%. Although my parents are not a perfect people, but I'm completely grateful because they gave me a birth. And each breath, inhalation and exhalation, will be a wonder. You will feel the deepest joy of life. So just being alive gives you perfect joyfulness. And then you feel, I have achieved my purpose of life. So this is called the joy of life in Buddhism, and that's the purpose of Buddha explained his wisdom to people, and that's the goal. And we can experience this in this lifetime, not after we die. If it's something we can experience after we die, that's not the purpose of life. Yeah, it's something that's. Go ahead.
Sorry for this interruption.
It's okay.
But I have a question about the enlightenment. I studied the notion of enlightenment, and according to the definition, enlightenment in a state of spiritual state of spiritual in mind. In Persian, we call the Arif, a person who can distinguish between wrong and right by using his mind or her mind, like Hafiz and even Rumi. And I was wondering if you tell me the enlightenment in Buddhism is equal the notion of enlightenment in Persian notion, or there is difference between two notions.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe, because Iran is closely located with India, the origin of Buddhism, I think people in ancient Iran might have been influenced by Buddhism. That's my personal opinion. It's not based on the historical document. But legend says some Buddhist monks were born in Iran. So basically, Iranian people made a trip to India and learned Buddhism, and then some of them went to China. And some of them might have returned to Iran and shared it with people. That's my personal idea. And I think, if we study more, maybe we can find more evidence. I have some evidence. So, that's why Rumi or there are some other spiritual people, poets, who wrote poems about spiritual awakening. That's why there are so many great poets in Iran. And Iran is a country of poem and literature. I think naturally people were influenced by such a great philosophy. And so there are 52 different levels in enlightenment in Buddhism. Yeah. So we just casually use the word enlightenment, but there are many different levels of enlightenment. Yeah. So this is going to be next topic, and we need a little time to contemplate on the matter we have been discussing. So we go slowly. So I'm going to talk about it tomorrow.
And I need to learn about the enlightenment, because you told me there is difference between type of enlightenment. The Buddhism, in Buddhism, the enlightenment is different from other sides, like
Yes.
I am very curious to understand about it.